All right, let's dive into one of the most potent and frankly terrifying chapters from Sun Tzu's classic, The Art of War. We are talking about Chapter 12, The Attack by Fire. I mean, this is where Sun Tzu shows you how a true master strategist can take something as chaotic as fire and turn it into a precision weapon.
Right off the bat, Sun Tzu hits us with this incredible idea. He doesn't see fire as just brute force or raw destruction. No. For him, using it correctly is a sign of pure intelligence. It's about calculation, not just chaos. So that really begs the question, right? How on earth do you turn something as wild and unpredictable as fire into a science? How do you create a system for it? Well, as you're about to see, Sun Tzu had a framework for pretty much everything, and this was absolutely no exception. So here's how we're going to break it down, following Sun Tzu's own logic. First, we'll hit the what, the 5 specific ways to use fire in an attack. Then we'll get into the when, why timing is absolutely everything. After that, the how you actually react to the chaos you've created. And finally, we'll dig into the why, the deep wisdom behind using such a powerful weapon in the first place.
Okay, let's start with the what. You know, Sun Tzu wasn't just like, hey, go set things on fire. No, he was way more methodical than that. He identified 5 very precise targets to cause maximum damage and absolutely cripple an enemy. He breaks it down into 5 specific objectives, and each one isn't just about causing physical damage. It's designed to completely tear apart the enemy's ability to even fight a war, from their troops right down to their supply chains. So let's walk through these, shall we? First, the most obvious one, burn soldiers in their camp. That's direct. It creates instant panic, instant casualties. But that's just the start. The next 3 are where it gets really clever. It's all about logistics. You burn their stores, they run out of food. You burn their baggage trains, you cut them off from resupply. You burn their arsenals, well, they've got nothing left to fight with. And that last one, hurling dropping fire, that's pure psychological warfare, meant to just terrify and break their spirit. It's a complete, all-out assault on every level. Okay, so you've got your targets picked out. You know what to burn. But, and this is a huge but for Sun Tzu, the when. Oh man, the when is everything. Launching a fire attack at the wrong time isn't just a little mistake. It's a total waste. You have to work with nature, not fight against it. And this is where you see just how meticulous Sun Tzu was. He gets super specific. Of course, the weather has to be dry, that's a given. But then he brings in astronomy, saying you need to wait for the moon to be in certain constellations, because those are the days you get rising winds. He's using every bit of knowledge he has to stack the deck in his favor. And get this is the kind of granular detail we're talking about. He understood the nuances of weather. A wind that kicks up during the day, that's going to last. It's going to carry that fire far and wide. But a breeze at night might just die out. So it's not about getting lucky with the wind. It's about knowing the science, observing nature, and making it work for you. All right, picture this. You've picked your target. You've waited for that perfect, dry, windy day. The fire is raging. What do you do now? This right here is where a good general becomes a great one. You can't just sit back and watch. And again, we come back to that magic number 5. Sun Tzu lays out 5 key things you need to watch for, 5 potential scenarios, basically 5 ways to read the chaos that you've just unleashed. This is basically a playbook for reading the battlefield. It's all if-then scenarios. So, if you start the fire inside their camp and everyone's running around like crazy, that's your green light. Go, go, go. Attack from the outside. But what if the fire breaks out and the enemy is quiet? Disciplined. Sun Tzu says, whoa, hold on. Their calm tells you they're prepared. Don't attack. See? It's a dynamic, responsive strategy. Starting the fire is just the opening move. You know, it's one thing to talk about these principles, but it's another to see them in action. And luckily, the commentary on the text gives us this incredible real-world case study, a super daring night raid led by a commander named Pan Chao. So this commander, Pan Chao, he's totally outnumbered, things are looking bleak, and he comes out with this amazing line, basically saying, unless you enter the tiger's lair, you can't get the tiger's cubs. He knew he had to take a huge but calculated risk to win. And his plan? I mean, it's like he had a copy of The Art of War in his pocket. He waited for night, he waited for a strong wind, then he split his forces, set fire to their camp from the upwind side, and had his other men beat drums and yell to create absolute pandemonium in the dark. And the results were, well, they were absolutely devastating. Not only did they kill the enemy leaders and many of their troops, but the psychological shockwave was so massive that the entire kingdom was paralyzed with fear and surrendered. And that right there, that's the point. This wasn't just a victory, it was a masterclass, proving what happens when you use fire with intelligence.
Okay, so we've seen the what, the when, and the how. But what about the why? What's the big picture lesson we're supposed to take away from all this? For Sun Tzu, it was never just about the tactics. It was always about the wisdom behind them. And to make his points, Sun Tzu draws this really cool comparison between fire and water as strategic tools. He says an attack with water is great for, say, cutting an army off or splitting their forces, but it can't destroy their supplies. Fire, on the other hand, fire is a weapon of total destruction. It can literally wipe an enemy's resources off the map for good. And because it is so incredibly powerful, so final, Sun Tzu leaves us with this crucial warning. A weapon this devastating can't be used because you're angry. A ruler can't send troops just because he's in a bad mood. And a general can't start a battle out of personal frustration. This isn't a tool you use when you're emotional. It's a tool that demands a cold, calculated, and clear strategic purpose. And that's the thing about Sun Tzu, isn't it? These ideas are thousands of years old, but they reach way beyond an ancient battlefield. So I'll leave you with this question. In our world today, in business, in politics, even in our own lives, when is it actually intelligent to, metaphorically burn the stores? And how do we know if we're doing it for a sound, strategic reason, or if we're just acting out of pique? It's a heavy question, but it's the kind of wisdom Sun Tzu forces us to think about.